Good afternoon, everyone. If you have a phone, please turn it off. I almost forgot. All right. This is my first ever time presenting in Dublin. My name is Isaac George, and I'm originally from the United States, living in Scotland and also now in Ireland. About a year and a half ago, moved to Down County Cork, Sherry. And we're very excited to be here this weekend, and also we'll be back at the end of February, toward the end of February, for the Bliss Festival, which will be happening right here at South William Street. I'll speak about that at the end. What I'm here to share with you today is a bit about called energy wisdom and spiritual hygiene. And what I've about is basically consciousness and helping people become more conscious and aware of their surroundings, of themselves predominantly as being a spiritual being having a physical experience, and to understand better the nature of our environment and where we live in this part of the universe. And so what I've been about since 1994 is leaving the corporate world and business world, and due to an extraordinary circumstance called the spontaneous Kundalini awakening, I came to work in the areas of energy healing and being a channel and doing presentations all over the United States, Hawaii, and Canada, and then taking a 7-year hiatus in which I offered self-published book and also my first CD of meditative and what I call soundscape music, which is this one right here, Excerpts from Eternity. I do have them for sale, but I'm not pushing this today at all. I'm just here to share with you what I've learned about consciousness, energy wisdom, and feeling more integrous and sovereign in your own fields and your own being. I don't know, anybody here in the room do therapy work or counseling work? Raise your hands. All right. Has anybody who's done that sort of thing ever an experience of like having an incredibly powerful session with somebody who's incredibly distressed, and they walk away feeling great and you feel rotten? Anybody have that experience? Okay. If you don't have that experience, that's fantastic. You're already way ahead of the curve. But if you do have that experience, it helps to understand a bit more about our environment and how we are dealing with people. I've got a couple of handouts here to pass around. And this is just a primer, or an introduction to what we're talking about here. So there are two handouts. One is an exercise, one is an information sheet. So if you take one and pass it on down, then you'll be able to sort of follow the bouncing ball here. What is the nature of the experience that we live in, we call the physical universe? It's multi-layered, it's multi-dimensional. We're way beyond high school physics and science in this day and age when we're talking about quantum physics, when we experience the idea that what we live in and think of as the material universe is really not that solid. Quantum physics is pointing the way, as is the old spiritual and mystical traditions that are thousands of years old, that what we are experiencing in a sense is really sort of a holographic reality. And in this holographic reality, there are many layers, or as Jesus said, there are many mansions in my Father's house, referring to dimensions or states of experiences. Reality is much more fluid and more malleable than we had once thought. And so what we've come to understand about the nature of reality has challenged us regarding how we relate to our environment. But most effectively and efficiently, we don't understand how our own energy is affected by the environment, or working with other people, interpersonal relationships, electromagnetic devices and fields. All of these things we are not only interacting with unconsciously and consciously, but we are affecting them as well. We're not just getting information in without anything being emitted. Your experience is being transmitted holographically and quantumly across the entire cosmos. So each and every person here is in my understanding, in my looking at things, you're a multidimensional being having a singular awareness and a singular experience here. So there's parts of you having experiences and realities beyond what you know in your conscious waking life. And part of that we call our dream world or dream time. One of the things that's really helpful to understand about this reality is that you have complete and total responsibility and control for how you interact with it, what you choose to interact with, what you choose to take on or not take on. You have a right to say no to anything. You have a right to say yes to anything. But it's helpful when you're conscious of what your choice is and what it feels like. It's about getting past what the mind's judgments are and about what the mind's projections are. And saying, okay, I feel this, why? And asking the questions. Electromagnetic spectrum. If you see on the top of the front part of that sheet, the electromagnetic spectrum is the electromagnetic field that is measurable by scientific instruments to this point in time. It is not perfect because our instrumentation is only sensitive enough to pick up down to the infrared wavelengths on the low end of the spectrum, and gamma ray, the stuff that comes from the center of the universe and the galaxies, and actually can mutate DNA. We can pick that up on the upper end of the scale, very high frequency. How this relates to the human chakra system is in terms of color and wavelength. And so violet, which is violet light, which is the color of the seventh chakra, is very much a high frequency, almost gamma radiation wavelength. Okay? Now, the visible color spectrum, what we see and understand as color out here, is a very, very, very small part. Our sensory awareness is a minuscule slice of that electromagnetic spectrum. Everything above and beyond it and below it, we're not aware of unless we have clairvoyant capabilities, clairaudient capabilities, we can hear things, we can see into the future, or tap into the past. We're tapping into a timeline that exists now. There is no past, there is no future, it's all right now. So when these kind of events happen in your life, where you get a knowing about something, you get precognitive hit on something, you're tapping into something outside of the realm of time and its control. Same way with things like EMF fields. Your mobile phones. This is a general environmental pollutant right here. Okay? It emits a radio frequency energy, a radiation field, microwave-based, and when you hold it against your head for a long period of time, especially if you're a child whose brain and skull isn't fully formed, it will have an influence, it will have an impact. You sit on one of these on inside of a car, it turns the whole car into what we call in scientific jargon a Faraday cage, which turns the whole car into one solid metal antenna looking for a cell phone signal somewhere out there in the field. So there are ways and there are devices for dealing with this kind of stuff. Wi-Fi and so forth, but we're not here to talk about that today. We're here to talk about the emotional, psychic, astral, mental, physical stuff. Now, everybody here probably has some varying degree of sensitivity or another to what goes on psychically, emotionally. And why I asked about who is a therapist, because you do have this experience sometimes of feeling high or low or emotional or have altered states of consciousness, and you're not really sure where they come from or why they happen. It's usually because you're interacting with something your conscious mind isn't participating in. The biocomputer only picks up a small portion of that visible wavelength or spectrum that we call reality on planet Earth. So, welcome, come on in. If you didn't get a handout, I'm sure there's extras. So one of the ways to understand this is that basically there is consciousness, what we call in the spiritual realm, all that is, God, whatever your name for that is. And consciousness is just pure awareness. Awareness then thinks or seems to appear to have the process of thought. And we all experience thought. How many times we wish we could turn that monkey mind off and not have this stream of thought and thinking going on all the time. This is the mental awareness. Thought actually is the component that actually precedes energy happening. And energy can be very fast or it can be very slow. Depends on its vibrational rate. How is that for everyone? Fun?
Yeah.
It's a lot of fun because you're sharing life force essence with each other, and you're passing things back and forth that very innocuous, very innocent. It's lovely. It's not. There's no agendas. There's no strategy other than to have fun and experiment. That's really the basis of who we are beyond mind created self and all of our personality conditioning and everything else. So I'm glad you had a good time with it. Now I would like to invite, and I don't know how we're going to do this exactly because it's set up classroom stuff, and it's a wooden floor, so it's not going to be very comfortable, but I hope to keep this brief. I'd like a volunteer from the audience to demonstrate the reality of chakras and how they spin. You'll do it? Great. Okay. For those in the back who can't see, you can come forward or stand up. I wouldn't stand on these chairs, though, probably. This will only take a few minutes. And this is very rudimentary. Now, there's a number of different schools, just lay down anywhere. There's a number of different schools of thought regarding the rotation of the chakras and their polarity, where what I was taught by my guides years ago is that every chakra has a different polarity, whether it's coming out the back of the body or the front of the body, and that women's polarity of their chakras is opposite of male energy. So it's not, we're not talking men, women, we're talking masculine, feminine. We're talking raw energy in its polarized form. Because beyond form, beyond all what we call manifested reality, there is no polarity. It's one thing, completely fused. Okay? So what I'm going to do, basically, is I'm just going to let the pendulum, crystals are very sensitive to energy and also emit energy. This is an amethyst. So I'm just going to place this over her root chakra. Well, I'm not going to do anything to it. I've seen some people who think they have to spin the stone. I'm going to let the chakra spin the stone. Okay? And this will reveal sometimes the flow rate and polarity, and also whether the chakra is clear or distorted or low of energy. It's automatically going counterclockwise. Now the chakra, the root chakra, actually the vortex goes between the legs down toward the feet. The crystals are smooth and pick up the rotational frequency. So right now it's just going counterclockwise, which is healthy, and it's good, and in fact it's very strong. Why is it a negative polarity? Because negative in the metaphysical or psychic sense is receptive, takes energy in. Now if I switch to the sacral chakra, or second chakra, the pendulum is confused for a moment. Begins to rotate clockwise. And this is right over, essentially in the area where the ovaries are, on top of the uterus. The second chakra in men is the cells of Leydig. In women, it's the ovaries. It's not the testicles in men. That's the root. So that's good and healthy. All right? If it were blocked, it might go back and forth like this. Sideways, it might just hang there and hardly do anything if somebody's got a really blocked second chakra. Solar plexus on women should be an alternate polarity, or counterclockwise, and it is. Are you feeling anything?
Yeah.
No. Good, strong solar plexus energy, but not overly wide, which is good. She's not too prone to taking on other people's emotional baggage. Okay. All right, so we'll just spiral it up. I'm not going to do it all seven. A lot of people don't know this or forget about it, but there's a chakra at the base of the feet. As I said, there are meridians, major meridians in the palms, and also the soles of the feet. So this forms